These video games back in the day, it taught us patience because you knew you only had 3 lives to live. Just like Super Mario Brothers, 3 lives to live. You go through the level, you die 3 times, game over. There was no saves. You go back. Nowadays, everybody get a participation trophy.
You are now tuned into the Doscinco Project.
What up, everybody? You are now tuned in to the Doscinco Project. Remember when I told y'all that parenthood was very tough? Like we all know that parenthood is tough. You go through your different stages within your children's life. There's a set of new challenges. You get a different type of personality each and every day, probably even by the second, right? One minute they like you, the next minute they can't stand you. One minute you're the superhero, the next minute you're the villain, right? I had one of the children come up to me and said, "Can I get Roblox?" Right? Roblox, whatever, right? So I'm like, all right, cool. It seems like every payday though, like I'm dishing out 10, 20, 30, 40, $50, right? Every paycheck. It's almost like his own bill at the end of this day, right? So one time I decided to ask, I said, let me ask you a question. When I give you this money for these Robux or what have you, like, what are you doing with this money? Like, what are you doing with it? And then he replies back. He says, I'm going to buy a scarf for my character, right? Or I'm going to buy a hat for my character. Or I want to change the entire skin so that way he looks like he's Spider-Man, right? And mind you, like when I look at this Roblox video game, it just looks very blocky, right? It just looks like old graphics from like the 90s, what we used to play on like PlayStation 1 and 2 and so forth, right? So I'm looking at that, I'm like, first of all, these are some weird old-fashioned characters, and you're buying a scarf like for him, like a hat. Like how much does this stuff cost? Oh, it's about 2,000 Robux. Well, what does that amount to in American dollars? So anyway, overall, I don't want to bore y'all with it, but they've been playing the same games for the past 10 years. The childhood literally consists of one game for 10 straight years. So whoever's creating these video games, like, I applaud y'all. Let's give y'all a round of applause because you cracked the code. You cracked the code on how to make so much money off of one game that can last years. Right? Because you create these worlds within these games. You know, you have GTA or Grand Theft Auto. You have Minecraft. You got Fortnite. You got Roblox. You got all these games that have these worlds that are constantly elevating, and there's always some kind of new addition that's taking place at 2 o'clock in the morning. Right? You got the little one at 9 years old coming up saying, hey, can I go to bed at 2 o'clock in the morning? Because they're going to release the new edit or they're going to release the new edition or whatever that means, they're releasing it, right? So it could be a Travis Scott avatar that comes in. It could be Eminem decides to do a performance at 2 o'clock. And it's just weird, man. It's a weird society. It's not like the childhood that we grew up in. Now, my childhood was 90s, early 2000s. That's back when we got a Nintendo 64. I remember getting that during Christmas when I used to celebrate Christmas, right? I remember getting that. That was the best day of my life. I used to take that, Super Mario Brothers or Mario 64, Wave Racer, right? WCW versus the World. I think that was PS1. But overall, we had games. Matter of fact, look to the side of me right now. I'm pointing right here. The image is going to pop up, okay? Stone Cold Steve Austin, all right? That was the type of video games we played. You see the graphics there. We thought that was game changing back in the day. We thought that was the most realistic graphics on the planet. And we enjoyed it. You understand? All right. Take it off the screen, right? Nowadays, they have movies that these kids are playing. So they have a lot of great stuff happening within these video games, but it's nothing like the way we grew up. And I know I'm sounding old, y'all. I know I'm sounding like, oh, well, back in my day, I understand that, right? But it's nothing like it because our generation was the last generation to live before the internet. Think about that. Our generation was the last generation before the internet. A lot of people can't even imagine what that means, right? I remember playing my Nintendo 64 and I had 4 controllers, which means I was playing in the same room with my friends. I ended up, I would probably say maybe a few years ago, buying the boys a PlayStation 5. And I think this was during COVID. So I spent like $800 for this system. Why? Because I wanted to see my kids happy, right? So I bought the system and I bought 4 controllers on top of that. I bought a bunch of stuff, right? So they can all play. So they can all play together. I thought one system, they could all play together. Boom, call it a day. We're good. Come to find out, and I could be wrong, and you can comment, let me know if I'm wrong, but come to find out, you can't play multiplayer. There is no more split screen on video games anymore on PS5. There is none, right? Everybody has to have a PS5. Everybody. So I got 3 boys in this house, so we need 3 PS5s in order for the boys to all play together, right? The corporations, well, I'm telling you, they robbing us right in front of our face. They ain't even robbing us blind no more. They robbing us right in front of our face. They like, listen, you're going to spend $500 for each system for each of your kids so they can all play together. Long and gone are the days of the N64 or the PS1 or the PS2 where you had 4 controllers and everybody played together. Long and gone are those days. And now you have, I think the creator of GTA, of Grand Theft Auto, they made over $1 billion, or does it take, I think it took, anyway, I think they made over $1 billion in revenue off of that one game because of all the different worlds and so forth. So you can create one game and last for 10, 20 years and call it a day. Magnificent on their part, terrible for us because these kids, all they can say is, yeah, I only play one game my entire life. It's ridiculous, right? But when I was a kid, let me tell you, I remember going to my cousin's house. They had a Nintendo 60. No, they had a regular Nintendo. This was during, I think I was probably like 7, 8 years old. I still remember my childhood as if it was yesterday. It was a beautiful time, right? But they had the Nintendo and we were sitting down and we were watching our cousins play. They were playing football. I think it was like techno football at one time, right? So it's these little characters and they just going across the screen. Well, anyway, we used to pass the remote controls around so everybody got a turn. But I noticed that everybody constantly gave me the remote control and I was playing, right? And as I was playing, I used to concentrate real heavy when I was playing, right? So with that concentration, I'm hitting the buttons and my mouth is opening in a weird type of way. I was going to say retarded, y'all. And I know that we cannot use those words anymore. So a weird type of way, right? So I was making faces and all of my cousins were kind of snickering in the background, right? I had no clue. And then I was wondering why they always kept on giving me the remote control. And I'm like, oh, like I must be very popular. I must be doing it right, right? So I would take the remote control and I would make these faces all while they joking in the background. I had no clue until years later what they were doing, you know? But that was the fantastic part about being together because it was camaraderie amongst our cousins. We had so much fun, y'all. We had so much fun. I mean, I remember going to the grocery store and going into a Game Informer or Game Pro magazine. And I know this is technically theft today, and my apologies, y'all. But I remember opening up the magazine, going through the game magazine and ripping out the cheat code page because it was a cheat code with these video games back in the day. You know, it isn't like you can buy like in Mortal Kombat, you can buy your fatality. So if I press one button, the fatality happened. No, it was rules to the game, baby. It was some experience. It was some button action you had to make happen in order to get Scorpion to take off his mask and the fire come and eliminate the enemy. It was some real work there, man. It took a lot of experience in order to get that done, to master A, B, front, back and all that stuff, and then do it all simultaneously so you can make that happen. It was like some real life action there, right? I remember when my parents gave me Mortal Kombat 1 for the Sega Genesis, right? And I remember when I did that first fatality with Scorpion. Oh man, I still remember the excitement to this day. That mask came off, everything got dim and dark. It's a fatality. He ends up burning the guy alive. Boom. It was exciting. It was magnificent. I yelled downstairs, told my mom, I burnt the guy alive. I did the fatality. I killed the man. My mom ran upstairs thinking I'm really burning something in the room and got upset with me. But nonetheless, that was the beauty of childhood, y'all. That was the beauty of childhood. And these video games back in the day, it taught us patience because you knew you only had 3 lives to live, right? You know you only had 3 lives to live. It's just like Super Mario Brothers. 3 lives to live. You go through the level, you die 3 times, game over. There was no saves. You go back. Nowadays, everybody get a participation trophy. You know, you reach a certain checkpoint at a certain level, and guess what? It's all, you can continue from that level. It doesn't matter how many times you die. You can die an infinite amount of times. It's right there. With us, it was no participation. We had to learn patience. We had to learn strategy. We had to learn experience. And that's what we was out there killing the game, baby, with 3 lives. You understand? 3 lives. But, yeah, man, it was different. It was different growing up. It was definitely a great childhood, man. It was a little bit of technology, not so much. Our technology was more analog driven. It was not digital at all, but we had such an amazing time back in the day, man. That was also the last time we used to play with our friends. Imagine playing with your friends outside when it snowed. Let me tell you, right? Philadelphia, I already told y'all, Philly had a big snowstorm this past week, right? We still trying to dig ourselves out, right? Philly had a big snowstorm this past week, right? I look at all the kids and I'm like, y'all gonna go outside play football? You gonna go outside go sledding? No, Dad, I want to just chill on my iPad, or I just want to chill on my video games. This is the new generation, y'all. I get excited when it snows because I'm thinking I'm gonna go outside to play with my friends. I realize everybody done had their families and everything else, but overall it was like a good time back in the day. We used to go outside, we used to play football, and I don't know about y'all, but I know that when it finished snowing and I was on my block, I made sure I was outside first because I wanted to touch the snow first. I wanted my footprints on the snow first. I used to get mad when the other kids came outside and I knew I couldn't go outside yet and they messing up all the snow. I used to get mad. It was weird. It was like I felt selfish, man. I was like, no, I got to go ahead and put my footprints on the snow first, But it was a great time, man. It was just different. It was just different, man. And then also with this new generation, again, I sound so old just saying it, right? But with this new generation, even the clothes don't make sense. The clothes don't make sense, y'all. Back in the day, right? I understand every generation has their weird type of fashions or fashion that seem cool. And then you look at it 10 years later and you're like, man, I don't even know why I wore that, right? So back during my time, right? During my teenage years, it was the baggy clothes. We used to wear the long white tees with the Jabot jeans, wear them with some Timberland boots, some Mitchell and Ness, jerseys or what have you. Throwbacks is what they called them, with a nice fitted cap. Called it a day. You was out here wilding and styling, right? There's times where I would leave out the house and my father was like, why are you going outside with a clown suit on? I'm like, man, you over there hating, My pop's still back in the 60s, 70s with it, maybe the 80s, But I used to always think, I was like, man, my pop always hated, man. He don't understand fashion. I look back now, I'm like, yeah, I ain't even understand it. But that was the style back then, right? So anyway, let's get back to the point. So this new generation, they all dress like soccer coaches. They all dress like soccer coaches. Soccer coaches a funeral, or they look like they going to a funeral with the all black on. All black all the time. It's the blacks, the whites, and the grays. That's all they're wearing. There is no color. It is very dull, right? And then the stuff that they're wearing it's like the swish pants, the Nike Techs and so forth, right? So I'm like, all right, cool. This is easy. My bad, y'all. Listen, my bad. I had a little interruption because I'm down here recording. I'm in the basement recording. There's no other place in the house that I can record in. I can't record in the living room no more because that's where everybody go. Right? Can't record in the bedroom because it's just not a good scene. So I'm down here. I'm in the basement, y'all. I had to beautify the back, and make sure everything cool, But anyway, that's where we are. You can hear the plumbing and all that stuff, whatever. It is what it is. It's all about the grind. It's all about the grind and getting it from the mud. You hear me? But anyway, let's get back to it. The kids, they love Fabletics. They love Aloe. They love Lululemon. So when I first heard of these brands, they were like, Dad, can you take us to the mall so we get some Lululemon? I said, all right, what's that? They said, oh, it's the pants, and they showed me. I was like, oh, that should be sweet. It looked very simple. Man, I go to Lululemon and they start grabbing stuff, right? Like the pants, the hoodies, and so forth. So I'm like, all right, cool. It ain't about nothing. Look like about $30, $40 right there in your hand. So I said, that's cool. So I go up to the cashier and the pants by itself was like $145. You understand? The swish jacket right there was about $120, $130. So total, just in their hand, was almost damn near $300. So I mean, I didn't want to make them feel, embarrassed. But I told them, I said, hold on, man, one moment, real quick, hold on, I got to talk to them real quick because I think they got the wrong size. Right, that's exactly what I did. I had to turn it around, make it look like they got the wrong size. It was on them. So I walked back to where they got it from, and I said, let me tell you something. I said, don't never disrespect me like that again. Okay? I said, this stuff right here look like it ain't nothing but a $20 set. Okay, ain't nothing to it. It just looks like a swish, and that's it, man. Look like a regular windbreaker we used to wear back in the day. I said, do me a favor, put it back. No, Dad, we want to wear it. That's what everybody wearing. I don't care what everybody wearing. We're going to go to Primark. We're going to get you a nice jogging set, okay, and call it a day. But I don't want it. Now they're giving me attitudes, right? They're giving me attitudes because I'm not willing to spend $300 on a basic behind set. It's basic. They don't even look like you got $300 on. See, back in the day when we wore stuff, we made sure we looked like money. These kids out here, they want to look like they broke all the time, And then one thing that I don't understand and I don't realize is my kids, they're teenagers, so they like to trade clothes a lot, like with their friends. I'm talking about, oh, Dad, you think you could buy me these sneakers, right? Because I'm actually going to trade them with my friend, Khalil, because Khalil got these other sneakers that I want, so we're going to trade them real quick. But you think I can get that? Or I buy them a hoodie, and the next thing you know, they trading the hoodie. So every time he wearing different clothes, and I only went shopping for him one time, but he wearing other people's clothes. Like, that's what they do. And I thought it was just my kids. I was like, am I doing something wrong? Like, this is weird. It just seems very weird. It just seems very broke mentality type of, it just feels weird. Come to find out, I was talking to my friend Matt because he works in the school district. He was like, no, this is regular day for them, man. That's all they do. These kids, all they do is just trade. They trade sneakers down to, I'm surprised they ain't trading drawers yet. You know what I'm saying? I'm surprised they ain't trading drawers yet. But yeah, it's different, man. I don't understand. It's different. You can't even eat breakfast with excitement no more neither. And I don't mean to be jumping around, but it's the truth. See, when we were kids back in the day, one of the most exciting times was to go downstairs, right? Put your little Saturday morning cartoons on. Go to that new box of cereal, that Captain Crunch, right? The Frosted Flakes, the Fruit Loops, the Fruity Pebbles. You understand? Pop that thing open because you knew there was a toy inside. And what do? We was nasty kids back in the day. We pop it open, we put our hand all the way down, we searching for the toy. It was excitement. The moment we got that toy, we assembled it and we had a ball, man. It was all about the excitement. Then as years go by, now you gotta submit 3 proofs of purchases in order to get a book or some crayons and a marker. It's ridiculous, man. Times have changed, man. Times have changed. And I know I spoke about Toys R Us, and I don't mean for this to be venting, y'all, but I'm just telling you, Toys R Us ain't even the same. I went to KOP, King of Prussia, right, which is like one of the mega malls near where we live, in near where we live in Philly, right? And they got a Toys R Us there. So I was excited. So I go in, looks like a Five Below. Damn near look like a dollar store. This is what I'm talking about. My childhood's being erased. There is no legacy within it anymore. The giraffe is not there. Matter of fact, the giraffe is there, but he's not what he used to be. He looks soft. It's crazy, man. I don't know what to say, y'all. I don't know what to say, but these kids are wild, man. They are wild. It's not what it used to be. I feel like, and the thing is too, being that I'm 40 years old, as a parent, I'm at that tender age where I still remember when I was 15, still remember when I was 14, 13. I still remember that. I still remember the feelings I had during that time. I still remember what my parents did during that time. And so I have an understanding for the way these boys are growing up. I have empathy, but I'm also at that age where I'm a parent. So the parent in me comes up and wants to protect them at all costs. It's like at 13, 14, 15 years old, they want to start dating already. And it's like, no, just hold that. Hold that. Don't even focus on the dating right now. Y'all don't know what y'all getting into. You just don't focus on it. I understand you love girls. I understand that you want to go out with them and stuff, but pump your brakes, man. But in my mind, I'm like, But when I was a kid and my parents told me that same thing, I wasn't listening. I was going behind their back and doing stuff. So I know these kids are probably doing the same thing. But I'm trying to give them the game so that way they know, like, listen, I got to put things in perspective. There will always be girls for me to date as I get older. But let me get my money right first. Let me go ahead and get my education right. Let me travel. Let me get some experience. So that way when I'm ready, I can go out and date correctly. You know? I don't know. I'm having a tough time right now. These teenage years is just, you got to have a healthy balance. I get it. You got to have a healthy balance, And you also have to have a good village as well to raise these kids in. You can't have a village that, of people that just don't, they got issues in themselves. So if you got a village that has it, there was a guy on Instagram. I'm not going to say a certain word that he used because I know it's not permitted in society nowadays. But in lack of a better word, he pretty much said if the village got issues, what makes you think the child ain't going to have issues? Like you got to have a proper village too. You got to assess who you have around your kids that can raise your kids correctly or help you raise the kids and give you that support. Because the village ain't got no sense. What makes you think your kids going to have any sense? So I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you. But one thing that I do know as a parent, it is very hard. It is very hard because, you want the best for your kids, So I know when we were young, we knew that we got toys and we got specific things that were like very exciting. We got them during like 4 times out the year, right? Whether it's your birthday, whether it's Christmas, I don't know, a graduation, something. It was always like 3 or 4 times throughout the year that you got something. And then us as parents, we decided to, I'm going to spoil my kids. So every time I go to Target, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to end up purchasing them something. I'm going to go to the aisle and get them something. So now you got them conditioned thinking that that's real life. That's not real life. So sometimes I wish I could take a lot of this stuff back and just raise my kids the way my parents raised me. And then maybe they'd be better off. But I don't know. We got to figure that thing out. We got to figure it out. Always want to be in their feelings. They in their feelings. So now we feel as though we got to sit down with them and say, what's wrong? From 1 to 10, how was your day? Mood wise, 1 being at your lowest mood, 10. And I'm over here trying to psychoanalyze my kids 24/7, trying to be their therapist 24/7. I'll never remember my dad trying to figure me out. I just remember as long as I had food to eat, shelter over my head, and some structure, I was good to go. It is what it is, Even the educational system. I mean, if you look at the educational system, I only remember my parents interacting with teachers probably about 4 times out the year, unless you behaved badly and you ended up getting suspended for, God knows what. That's the only time you spoke to teachers. Report card conferences. Your parents show up, they're having a conversation with the teachers, discussing your behavior, discussing your grades, and that was it. And you knew if you did good, there was nothing going to happen. You knew that if you did bad, you look up at your parent, your father looking at you hard like, I can't wait to get you in that car. I can't wait to get you home. You in trouble. You knew that, right? Not today. The educational system is so intrusive. It's almost like we have to be in the classroom with the teachers. Listen, I get it, right? Teachers need all the support, and I'm all for all of the support. But I don't need an email every 5 minutes of what y'all planning on doing. Just do the activity, and that's it. I don't need to know that y'all about to do a character development type of activity, and I don't need to know all that. Just do it. Just do it. And then also back in the day when we used to buy, when we did back to school shopping was book bag, and maybe 3 or 4 sets of clothes with some new sneakers and then your school supplies, and you call it a day, right? You call it a day till Christmas. Now, when you do back to school shopping, you have to do, you got to buy your kids the clothes. You got to buy them the book bag. You got to buy Kleenex wipes for the entire class. You got to buy them rolls of toilet paper. You got to buy them 4 or 5 boxes of number 2 pencils, markers, index cards, and everything else, right? And then on top of that, you got bake sales, you got all types of sales, you got all types of parties that now you got to purchase food for. I'm working for the school at this point. I mean, if you really want, I'm working for the school at this point. You might as well make me a certified teacher. I'll go in there about 2, 3 times out the week. I might as well. You already got me involved. I'm this much involved. This much involved. And there's nothing like a snow day, y'all. Like, I think there's certain things I think we gotta take off limits. I mean, there's certain things we should not touch. Like snow days, if it snows, leave them alone. Let the kids go out and have fun, man. Let them go. Don't make it asynchronous type of learning, virtual learning, hybrid learning, whatever you want to call it. Leave them alone. COVID messed all that up, y'all. You know that. COVID messed it up. COVID took away the snow day from us. COVID took away those days where it's like, listen, man, we about to have 3 snow days, man. That means no work, no school. We are off. Not today. You get a snow day, you know that you got to go on virtual and you got to complete these assignments. You got a snow day, hey, guess what? You got a laptop, time to start answering emails. That's what it left us to, man. I felt like this was a venting session, y'all. My bad, man. Sometimes I use the podcast as a therapy session. It is what it is. But yeah, man, our childhood was so dope. And I know every generation will say their childhood was so dope. But our childhood, I'm talking about the millennials. I'm talking about those that was raised in the 90s and the early 2000s, before internet took the scene, before Facebook, before Instagram, before MySpace, before Snapchat and all TikTok, before all of that, y'all. We lived such simple lives. We hung out with our friends. We hung out on the steps. We played video games together. We had sleepovers where we watched movies and we stood up till 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. And the moment that one person fell asleep, we played a prank on them. Like those were the days, man. Those were the days. Wrestling, I used to love wrestling. I used to love WCW, WWE, which used to be WWF. I used to love all that stuff, man. Back when they used to have the Monday Night Wars, so to speak. So WCW had Monday Nitro, WWE or WWF at the time, they had Monday Night Raw, and they were battling. And we used to switch our channels front to back. Around 8 o'clock. I think it was like around 8 o'clock. We used to switch our channels. There was always something exciting going on, man. NWO was taking over WCW. You had Stone Cold, The Rock, Undertaker. They were making things happen. It was a good time to be alive, y'all. Good time to be alive. But I say that to say this. Enjoy the moments that you have here on this earth during this present time, right? Because soon they will become a memory. Soon they will become your past. And you don't realize whatever stage your children are in today, whether they're 9, 10, 13, 15, they will never be that stage again. So enjoy it. Yes, they grew up from little beautiful babies to wonderful toddlers to now they're teenagers. But each step of the way, enjoy the process, enjoy the moments, because you will not get them again. Okay? Them times that you are spending with your family members, them times that you are spending with friends, enjoy the moment as it sits. Because soon those moments will pass. And you don't realize when, indeed, it's going to be the last moments that you are going to be with those individuals and cherish those memories. So enjoy each moment. Because I'm telling you, happiness is within the present. It's not within the past. It's not within the future. Happiness is within the present. Because if you can make every moment count, every moment going to count for you. Make sure you like. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you follow me on all the social media channels, you guys. The Doscinco Project, Doscinco the Great. We got planes to catch. We ain't got no time for the nonsense.